Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to do another lawn care test. What we're going to test is purely organic lawn food fertilizer versus Milorganite, which is also an organic fertilizer. And a lot of people are claiming that the purely organic fertilizer is actually a comparable or an alternative, and it's just as good as Milorganite. Question is that true or is it a fallacy? Let's find out together with a test. Welcome back and thank you for joining me, everybody. This is Mike with Jealous Lawn Care. And first thing, we're going to have 4 different tests. We're going to really test this lawn food from Purely Organic. This is going to be the ultimate test to see if it really is comparison to Milorganite. And the reason we're doing this video test is because of one of my subscribers, love you guys, asked to see this specific test between Milorganite and its comparable purely organic lawn food fertilizer. So this came about because of the fact that Milorganite is such a great product. We all know it, we all love it, but unfortunately, unless you get it really early in the spring, it's sold out everywhere. Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware, no matter where you go, it's pretty much sold out for the last few years. So of course, Milorganite, the company, they're going to try and ramp up production and get more and more and more, but realistically, so many people are using it, so that's why we're using it and doing this test, is because of the fact that Milorganite is hard to come by and it's scarce. Might be out of stock by you, therefore maybe, just maybe, you can get by using this alternative comparable. So what we're going to test today, first thing, 1 strip of Milorganite, just 1. Then 1 strip of the purely organic lawn food, right there. Then you say, hey, what about the other 2 strips? We're gonna have 4 tests, right? And yes, to truly prove this purely organic lawn food, we really have to test it as thoroughly as I've tested Milorganite in the past. You've seen I've had 2 test videos strictly on Milorganite, proving the first video, which said, hey, what's the ideal application? Is it once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, once every 2 months, whatever? Or does it even not work? We've tested that. If you haven't checked it out, check out that Milorganite test video number 1, test proof. Then, Milorganite video part 2 that we tested last year. That was based upon, for you people down in Florida with fertilizer restrictions, because you can't fertilize during hurricane seasons in the summer and so forth. Therefore, can you just put down, instead of a weekly application or a monthly application, can you put a lot of fertilizer down all at once? Meaning instead of 1 pass, put down 4 passes, 4 applications all at once. Some may think that's extreme, but hey, if you get the same results doing it all at once, why waste time in doing it more than once, right? So check out that video if you haven't seen that also, Milorganite test video part 2. Now, these last 2, we have to test them to the same extreme. So therefore, we already tested 1 pass in the first with Milorganite, 1 pass with the lawn food. Then, in this 3rd test, what we're going to test is the purely organic fertilizer. We're going to put down 4 applications. 1 week, 1 the 2nd week. So I'm going to have 4 applications by the end of the month, every week. Then, in the 4th test, the 4th test is going to prove, can you burn this or not? They say right on the bag, will not burn your lawn. Just in case you guys can't see that, there it is. Will not burn your lawn, right there. So then in the 4th test, we're going to do a test of burning. Basically, both of these last 2 tests are for burning. This one, like I said, we're going to be doing once a week, 4 applications for the month. And then in the 4th test, what we're going to do is the purely organic also, and we're going to do 4 passes all at once, just to see, can this burn? Will it cause disease? Let's find out together, right? So the reason that I'm putting these in this order is because of the fact that these 2 tests of purely organic should relate to each other. However, it will not relate to these other ones, because those are going to have 4 applications of the purely organic fertilizer. but these other ones will only have one pass. That is why we're testing those with one pass and these other ones with 4 passes. Let's find out how long it lasts, find out if it greens up as well as Milorganite or better. We shall see together, right? So enough talk, let's get to spreading. So Milorganite, I don't have to look at the bag. We all know it's a 10.5, right? And of course I have my edge guard on. All right, now for the lawn food from Purely Organic. This is going to be a spreader setting for me at a 7.5. So let's change that. Keep our edge guard on. And honestly, I have no experience with this product, so I'm not going to lie and say I know all about it, or it's good or it's bad. That's why we're doing this test, right? We're all going to find out together. It looks like this is orange instead of the normal black from Milorganite. And it looks like much smaller granules. So we have our edge guard on. I'm going to start from the back on these passes just to make sure the edge guard is perfectly being utilized, we'll say. And there we have it, test number 2, 1 pass of Purely Organic lawn food. Now what we're going to do is the next strip. This is going to be 4 passes, but only once a week. So I'm just going to do 1 now, then I'll do 1 in the week, 1 next week, 1 the following week. And now for the last strip. This will be 4 passes all at once. There is your 4 passes. And I did it back and forth just to save time in the video, because I know my videos, especially my test videos, some have gotten close to an hour. But I appreciate you guys checking them out. I love to give you all the background detail. Otherwise, you guys won't have any proof that I did a good or a bad test. You guys always have to let me know in the comments. Make sure you do, please. Something maybe you do differently, something maybe I did do or missed, let me know. And also, as I'm talking about it, I already forgot to mention that on the sides and pretty much in the whole backyard, I'm not using any weed and feed product, which is usually my weed pre-emergent that I know I love to use. And also, I'm not going to use any fertilizers in the backyard. I don't want to mess up or influence the tests in any way. So these have no other factors in play right now. And we are going to be getting a lot of rain, so I'm not even going to need to water right now because, again, these are organic. You really don't have to water immediately. But of course, if you want quicker results, you should water right away. But again, I'm not comparing the time it takes to green up. We know these are going to green up because they're organic fertilizers, but what we're testing is one to another. They're both organic fertilizers. Let's find out which is better, which greens up quicker between the two under the same conditions, soil conditions, same watering conditions, and let's see where we're at. And one thing I should mention is the nutrient level. So right here on Milorganite, this is a 640 for for you guys that love these percentages of the nutrients. And the purely organic is a 10-0-2. 10 being the nitrogen, 2 potash. And one thing I will point out that this lawn food from Purely Organic does not have any iron in it. The Milorganite does have 2.5% iron. I know it's a little bit lower than it past couple years. You know, they've changed their ingredients, we'll say, and therefore, just based upon this, I would hope or expect Milorganite to be greener longer because of the fact that the iron is what really lasts for a long period of time. But maybe the organic from the Purely Organic fertilizer will actually last just as long or longer due to the slower release formula. I guess we will have to see. So nitrogen runs out pretty quick, usually less than a month, I would say, depending on the fertilizer you use, and the iron lasts for several months. So stay tuned, and I will give you an update in the next few weeks. All right, it is now 1 week later, and this is time. We're going to do the second pass of the Milorganite comparable, the Purely Organic lawn food. And I got my edge guard on. And there is your second pass. And again, I'll be doing this every week. I may or may not show you, haven't really decided yet. So here's the pass that we just did. We did the second strip there. And now we're just going to take a quick view over here, which is where we did 4 passes a week ago, just to make sure that there's no issues with the grass at all as far as burning or any other issues with disease. Obviously, it's been a week, not that long of a time frame, so not really expecting too much. Here is that strip we're talking about again. So looking close, I don't see any issues. So currently, this is showing as a pretty good comparable as of right now. But we will check back in the future weeks to see all the other tests as far as greenness and also longevity of how green it will be, or will it not be green. We shall see. Here are your views, and I'll do one quick pass here since we're doing the weekly update now. I'll go back. Here's the first test, just so you can see differences or not. Second test. Third test, which we just did, which is the weekly pass. And the fourth test. I can see a little bit of difference in greening because of the fact that we put down so much here versus the non-fertilized portion. So you can see, I don't know if you can tell also, there's a little bit of greening difference here. There's a little bit of a line. So heavy handing it clearly seems to do something. Or maybe it's just my imagination, but you guys can tell me what you see. So one thing I definitely like is the uniformity. It's a lot more uniform in my lawn in all these sections where I did fertilizer versus the sections like over here. You could see different discolorations of patches, we'll say, and this happens because of the fact that no fertilizer was used at all. So one of the things I've talked about before in my videos is fertilizer, or specifically Milorganite fertilizer, seems to, if you're not using it, it seems like you have a lot of discolorations in the lawn. And here's an example of what I'm talking about. You see a whole bunch of different colors of greenness. You have big sections of green, big sections of not green. You have a lot of variety in the greenness. So here, you don't actually have that. And let me show you in my own lawn what I'm actually seeing here. And from right here, you can really tell that me putting down 4 strips over there really seems to be darkened green from this angle. This is a good angle.
tell here, there's just striping. There's no difference in fertilizing, because again, there's no fertilizing done in the rest of my backyard because of this test. And I can't show you the spot behind me because of the fact that I am fertilizing over there with a different test. And you can see I have a little discoloration here. So again, one of the reasons I like to use fertilizer in general, just keeps your grass all uniform. Darker green, of course, is always a benefit, but most importantly is to get it all even colored. I'm not sure if you guys can see in this, but I'm gonna try and do a quick little walk around right now. This section right here is a different shade of green, so that bothers me because of the fact that being different color doesn't look good. I like uniformity. Now here's what I'm talking about for uniformity. We're gonna go to my front, which, yes, you can see I did this fence post last year. I finally did this corner. This was down all winter roughly. This one fell over, so hey, guess what? I put in the second one just basically last weekend. Still have to chop off the top, make it look good, right? But this sucker is really strong. And the nice new gate latch, or not new I should say. I did buy a new one, so I'm gonna change this out. Make a nice stainless steel one. So let's check, see how well it closes. Yay. So since I mentioned it, I do want to point out the difference in discolorations. So this is my lawn, especially in the front. You know, I'm using a lot of fertilizer. You know, definitely a heavy-handed Milorganite application, we'll say. And yes, I got the diagonal stripes going. You can see there's no discolorations, but when you look at other places, you will see discolorations. And the reason there is discolorations in lawns because of the fact, it could be many reasons to be honest, but one of the reasons is fertilizing. It could be fertilizing incorrectly, meaning a bad application, bad spreader, bad drop spreader, whatever you're using, or it could be you're just not using fertilizer. So fertilizer will green you up quite well. I mean, look at that difference. So you guys gotta love this fertilizer. I mean, this is the Milorganite difference right here. I've showed it in my past video, but the difference in this dark green, this is what it gets you. It gets you that dark green difference between you and the neighbor. And that's the goal we all strive for.
Okay, here we are in week 2 of our fertilization test with purely organic lawn food. Trying to test if this works better or worse or the same as Milorganite. So let's go through our second pass.
All right, now that we did our second pass, we're going to do a quick little walkthrough. So, starting with our first test here, this is the Milorganite right here. And just in case you guys can't tell, we're going to talk about a little bit of color difference and so forth. So here's your first strip. 2 weeks later, good time to give you an update because we see our difference here between, here's Milorganite, nice all consistent green, and then you can see the non-fertilized portion. So if you guys remember from my other videos, especially regarding Milorganite, you'll see that I talk frequently about the color difference and the uniformity difference specifically. See how this is unfertilized over here? And you can see these different lighter color patches. I mean, that's really the Milorganite difference. It gives you a nice dark green the whole time versus this patch over here. And then we're going to step over to the purely organic lawn food over here, which you can see has some discolorations a little bit over here, and in these other tests you can see it a little bit over here also. So I hate to say it, but I mean, you guys are seeing the difference in proof here, right? Just as of week 2 at least. And I did want to show you real quick, by doing the 4 applications of purely organic, this is your strip here we're going to talk about. So let's see if there's any diseases that are happening already. It's a little early for that, just because usually diseases happen when the lawn is stressed out with too much heat. It's still at the end of spring, so we're not gonna, shouldn't have any issues with the lawn from disease standpoint. But when you over fertilize, that can always cause issues. So I don't really see any disease issues, any discolorations like brown discolorations or anything. So we can also do a snapshot this way so you can see the color differences. So Milorganite strip and 1, 2, 3 passes of the purely organic. You can see I have some discolorations. Again, I did not use Milorganite or any fertilizers on the outside. That's why I have some discolorations there. And the purely organic, I still do have some discolorations over here, which the purely organic fertilizer was actually used. The only strip I don't have any is the Milorganite strip, the very first strip. So you can see that that's consistent color the whole way through, even from any angle we want to look at. And I'm going to show you one more angle from the other side so you can see, really stand out those differences of discoloration. So there's your Milorganite, organic, organic, and organic. Those three are the purely organics, and you can see all the discolorations there. So it seems as of right now, after 2 weeks, the Milorganite is still standing strong. So unless the next couple weeks are going to show a surprising difference, or maybe the purely organic will be greener, maybe it takes a little longer, or maybe it will stay greener longer, but we shall see. So we'll have to stay tuned and find out what the future weeks have in store for us. All right, here is the final week for the fertilizer applications. After this, we'll have done 4 applications of the purely organic. All right, here we have a very loud bird behind me, but we'll do what we can to talk over him. So this is a little over a month after our first application of our Milorganite versus purely organic test, and just wanted to share with you some quick results. Then we're not going to go week by week because we've done that already, but we're just going to check to see how consistent the green is from each of the tests, and then I'll check back probably a month from now. We'll see how the greening goes, but as far as how long the green from the iron will last, we'll see. So here's your first test. This is the Milorganite. So this seems to be the only strip that does not have any difference in color, we'll say. So you can see over here we have some color differentiation over here, little patches. This is the purely organic fertilizer. You have a little bit over here and a little bit over here. Here, this was the 4 strips, meaning once a week, 4 applications, and over here was 4 applications done about a month ago. So the good news is I don't see any browning in the grass, meaning from over fertilizing or burning. So that is good results. However, I still have some discoloration here. Usually when I use Milorganite, I don't have any discolorations. So I'll show you again from the other angle, but that is one thing that I don't see from the purely organic fertilizer, is that it doesn't seem to get rid of the discolorations and make it all uniform like the Milorganite does. So this is the only one that I don't have any of the discolorations. And then from the other side, again, this strip is the Milorganite. This is the strip for the purely organic. Both of these only have 1 pass on them, 1 application, and then the 4 passes of each. So there is your test.
Welcome to the final update, everybody, of the Milorganite versus purely organic lawn fertilizer. And what we tested here was many different tests. The same things that I've tested in the Milorganite video that I tested. I hope you guys have checked it out. If not, make sure you check it out below in the comments or in the description.
I've got a little different lighting in here, so hopefully this will give even better results, because I got half with shade and half with sun. So let's go through our tests here. And this is a little over 2 months later, so should be all over with because nitrogen doesn't hold that long in the ground. All right, so here is our first test with Milorganite. As of now, you can see that first pass that we did with Milorganite. Really can't tell much of a difference between that or the sides. Pretty much all gone by now. And the one pass of the purely organic here, really again can't tell much difference between that and the sides. It's all pretty uniform back here. And here we have our 4 passes once a week of purely organic. Don't really see any differences, but the good news is that there is no burning. So this actually could be a non-burning, meaning Milorganite comparable. You can't pick up Milorganite. Now we have the last test, which was 4 passes a long time ago, it seems. And again, no burning, no issues with the grass at all. I'll show you from different angles also. We'll face into the sun, and then we'll face away from the sun, just in case you guys can see something that maybe I do or maybe I don't. It all depends on your angles too. It's very helpful. So this is our last test. I'll move this way now slowly. See if you can see any differences. So as you can tell, it is very hot. It's been 90 for a couple weeks straight, and I don't water on a regular basis, at least, only when it's really needed. Most of my lawn goes dormant in the summer, and I'm perfectly fine with that. This is kind of an in-between. It's not fully green and it's not fully dormant. It's kind of an in-between.
So here's my opinion on this test firsthand. So as you saw, Milorganite, just like I've always said in the past in other videos, Milorganite really does make your grass greener, yes, but it also has a second benefit. For me especially, that I've noticed all the time, is it makes my lawn very uniform. No patches of lighter green, patches of darker green. It makes it all nice and uniform. So yes, it gets a darker green, but most important thing, I want uniformity. You know, whether it's a darker green, a little bit lighter green, you know, it's not the end of the world, right? We want uniformity. We don't want to see patches that you don't want to be like, oh, people walking by can say, oh, he's got different grass types, or oh, he's got some lawn fungus or some disease because of the weird patches in his grass. I'm looking for the uniformity and also, of course, greenness. But those two are very key for a beautiful lawn. So that's my opinion on this. And as you can see, Milorganite did that for me. It gave me that uniformity and the greener grass, but the purely organic did not fully compete up to par in that area. Especially, you know, greenness is not really that different between the two, but the main difference for me was the uniformity. The purely organic lawn food did not make the grass uniform in that area. However, if it's summertime, you probably can't get Milorganite at most stores. It's sold out early spring, as we've talked about in other videos. However, if you can pick up this purely organic lawn food, I've already proved in these last 2 tests that it will not burn. It is dummy proof. Just like I've proven in the past in my Milorganite video that I tested, where I've done the same exact test, 4 tests all at once, and also 4 applications 1 week at a time, so every week. So I didn't actually see every week was really any better than just doing it once a month. So that is also a little difference, because when we tested Milorganite, you all saw that the 1 week application, meaning every single week if you apply Milorganite, that's actually how you get the greenest grass. And then of course, you know, infrequently, you know, will get you less desired results or less greener grass. So that's my opinion on this test. You guys can feel free to disagree or agree with me. Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thanks.